So YouTube, man, we back with another video, and today we gonna be talking about THF BayZoo final moments, man. We finna be reacting to the BayZoo video, long living condolences to his family and all that. We gonna jump straight into this though. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms in the description below. We finna see what this time out.
Getting gunned down in broad daylight is one thing, but going viral before the body's even cold, that's something else. THF BayZoo wasn't
Yeah,
just
that's
another
crazy.
name. He was a known enforcer, a face tied to OTF in the streets of Chicago. But in his final moments, caught on a shaky cell phone camera, he wasn't feared, he was hunted. The footage didn't just show him, it showed an execution, a calculated hit, closing the book on a war he helped start. BayZoo's wasn't random, it was get back, years in the making, and when it came, it didn't spare him. This is the story of how THF BayZoo got caught lacking, and the chain of events that led to his last breath. The ambush in Little Village. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting of THF BayZoo, two conflicting narratives emerged. The official police report stated that an armed offender approached in an unknown vehicle before opening fire. But the story the streets saw, the one that spread across the globe in a matter of hours, was far more personal and chilling. Grainy cell phone footage showed no car, just two gunmen running up on foot, a clear and deliberate execution that left no doubt about their intent. The final moments of Devonshire Collier, the 35-year-old man known to the world as THF BayZoo, played out on an otherwise ordinary Saturday afternoon. The date was October 25, 2025, and the location was a parking lot in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood, a place far from his South Side turf. At approximately 3 p.m., BayZoo was standing near a car on the 3100 block of South St. Louis Avenue, accompanied by two older associates, aged 39 and 42. The scene, captured by a nearby surveillance or cell phone camera, appeared calm, just another moment in a city trying to enjoy a weekend. But that peace was about to be shattered with brutal finality. The video that would soon become infamous shows two figures emerging, moving with a predatory speed and purpose. One wore a light-colored hoodie, the other a dark one. They didn't drive by, they ran directly at BayZoo's group. There was no hesitation, no verbal exchange, just the immediate eruption of gunfire. The attack was a blitz designed for maximum shock and with zero chance for reaction. The shooters sprayed the area, their focus clearly on one man. Online comments on Reddit reacting to the footage captured the cold-blooded nature of the hit perfectly. One user wrote, "Shit never goes away. People never forget. It's an endless cycle of back and forth." While another observed, "The sad thing is someone will now die over Zoo getting took out. Where does it end?" It was a targeted assassination, carried out with a level of aggression that spoke to a deep-seated beef. This wasn't a random act of violence, it was a message. BayZoo's music often reflected the grim realities of this life. In his track, Big Dog, rapped about the unforgiving nature of the streets, a world where any moment of comfort could be your last. His lyrics painted a picture of a man who was both a product and a purveyor of this violence. Kill or be killed, whole squad turned with a beefing with the six. For them, they going to come and some. He understood the rules of the game he was playing. On that Saturday in Little Village, those rules were enforced upon him. Lacking, far from his own territory, and his ops seized the opportunity. The parking lot became a kill zone, and the entire world was about to bear witness. The climax of the ambush was a chaotic flurry of bullets and bodies dropping. The footage shows BayZoo being hit multiple times, the force of the round staggering him as he falls to the pavement. His two companions were also struck in the hail of gunfire, though their injuries would later be described as less severe. The shooters, having accomplished their mission, didn't linger. They turned and fled the scene on foot, disappearing back into the city's landscape as quickly as they had appeared. No arrests were made in the immediate aftermath, leaving a vacuum of information that was quickly filled by speculation and the raw, unfiltered footage circulating online. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the Chicago hip-hop community. BayZoo was a long-standing fixture in the drill scene, a well-known affiliate of Lil Durk's Only the Family OTF collective, and a core member of his own THF, Tay-Town Hustlers family set. Tributes began pouring in. Fellow OTF rapper and close friend Duty Low posted a heartfelt message on Instagram, expressing a deep and personal grief. "My BFF, my brother, my dog, taught me a lot. This one hurt, WAP man, everybody know our relationship," he wrote. "I got you kids for life when I got shot. You jumped on the road, no questions." The post confirmed what many feared. The man seen collapsing in the video was gone. Devonshire Collier was rushed from the bloody pavement of the parking lot to Mount Sinai Hospital, listed in critical condition. But despite the efforts of medical staff, he succumbed to his injuries. The official report stated he was shot multiple.
Then them hospitals down there, I be hearing from folks in Chicago that they really don't be talking about nothing. They are almost about to let you die. They don't even be caring for real, from what I be hearing.
Times, a fact horrifically corroborated by the viral video. While his two associates were listed in fair condition, BayZoo's story had come to a violent end, as the news of his passing was confirmed by sources close to his family. One question dominated every social media platform and online forum: who did it and why? The streets were already talking, and a motive was beginning to take shape, one rooted in a cycle of get back that was as predictable as it was tragic. The echo of get back. Within hours of the shooting, a consensus began to form online, a theory of retaliation that spread with the same viral speed as the video itself. Unverified accounts, many of them deep within the Chicago drill scene, started pointing fingers in one direction. A black disciple set known as Bashville Crazy from the area of 71st and Wabash. According to the rumors, this was a clear case of get back. The motive wasn't money or a random dispute. It was revenge for the murder of one of their own, a member known as Man. The street lore provided a deeper, more complex narrative, a chain of killings that led directly to BayZoo's doorstep. The story went that Man himself had been targeted and killed in retaliation for a prior murder. He was allegedly the one responsible for the death of THF a member of BayZoo's own THF 46 crew. But rumors have spread that it was because THF robbed Lil Durk for his chain when he fell asleep around OTF. This created a grim, multi-layered timeline of violence. THF was killed, allegedly by Man. In response, Man was killed, a death the streets attributed to THF. And finally, to settle the score, Bashville Crazy slid on THF's most visible and respected member, BayZoo. It was a classic bloody cycle of tit-for-tat violence, where each death serves as the justification for the next. This dynamic of perpetual retaliation is the engine that drives the Chicago drill scene, and it was a theme BayZoo himself often explored in his music. His lyrics were filled with references to this unending war, a reality where today's shooter is tomorrow's victim. In his song Murder Story, he rapped, "I told him free my Melly, I got on my mind. When they killed my son Raheem, they seen the blood up in my eyes." These weren't just bars, they were reflections of a life lived under the constant threat of get back. He understood that every action in the streets has an equal and opposite reaction, and that the loss of one of your own demands a response. The theory circulating online suggested that BayZoo, a man who lived by this code, had now died by it. The climax of this street-level investigation was the moment the Man theory became the accepted truth. While the Chicago Police Department remained silent, offering no suspects and no official motive, the court of public opinion in the drill community had already reached its verdict. The narrative was solidified not by detectives and evidence bags, but by anonymous posts, shared whispers, and the collective understanding of how these beefs operate. The names Bashville Crazy and Man were now inextricably linked to BayZoo's murder in the public consciousness. By publicly naming Bashville Crazy as the perpetrators, the online community was potentially setting the stage for the next round of get back. THF, a crew known for its ruthless reputation, was not expected to let the death of a high-ranking member like BayZoo go unanswered. The street narrative had effectively painted a target on the back of an entire neighborhood, the making of a hustler. In one of his most candid interviews, THF BayZoo offered a stark diagnosis of his hometown: "Our city built off hate, man." He spoke of a pervasive corruption and jealousy that defined life in the trenches, where even those you grow up with might turn on you once you start to succeed.
The rack been going up more and more, so it's just a lot of motherfuckers want to be this and be that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't know how to be themselves in Chicago. Our city built off hate, man. Like if we come together like all these other states come together and make.
This was the life philosophy of Devonshire Collier, a man who navigated that world of hate for over 3 decades, first as a street hustler and later as a drill artist who turned his violent reality into a career. Long before he was a known affiliate of OTF, BayZoo was a product of THF 46, the Tay-Town Hustlers family, a notorious faction of the Black Disciples. He was, by his own admission, in the streets, heavy for real, before music was ever a consideration. His reputation was forged not in the studio, but on the block and in the prison system. He claimed to have spent over 12 years of his life incarcerated, a journey that took him from juvenile detention to the adult penitentiary.
That affect me with my legal situations, you know what I'm saying? That you get, and it get televised, them people be watching it, you know what I'm saying? And me, before the music, I was in the streets heavy for real, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't elevate, I didn't grew. You know what I'm saying? Like what's in me ain't gonna never be off me. But
when he was 17, he caught his first adult gun case and expected to do a short 61-day sentence, but ended up doing 6 months. Upon his release, he was immediately picked up on a juvenile parole violation and sent back, a bureaucratic trap that kept him entangled in the system. His name, Devonshire Collier, appears in court documents that paint a picture of a life lived on the edge of the law. In one case, a 2014 motion for discovery requested police reports related to a murder investigation where Devonshire Collier was listed as a person of interest and a state witness, highlighting his deep immersion in high-stakes street conflicts. This wasn't a man who rapped about a life he imagined. He rapped about the life he had survived. In an interview with No Jumper, he spoke about his mindset, explaining that he often had to play dumb to navigate the treacherous politics of the streets, keeping his thoughts to himself because he had zero tolerance for a lot of bullshit. This cautious, observant nature was a survival mechanism honed over years of dealing with a city he felt was fundamentally built on envy and betrayal. It'll be a nigga been growing up with all your life that you felt like wants you to prosper, he explained. Whole time you get to doing too much, a nigga died hating.
Take this shit right, shit'll be way better for a lot of motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? But niggas grow hate for no reason, bro. Like I never knew that about Chicago. Like it'll be a nigga you been growing up with all your life that you felt like want you to prosper and be something with yourself, you know what I'm saying? Whole time you get to doing too much or the most, side hating, side looking you, sneak this you behind your back. That's just
this deep-seated cynicism about his environment became the foundation of his artistic identity. His music was raw, unfiltered, and devoid of the glamour that often accompanies mainstream rap. It was a direct reflection of the world he knew. In his song Big Dog, he raps, "They act like they ain't heard of us. I'd rather be a robber than a burglar. It's be whole squad turned." The lyrics weren't just tough talk. They were a mission statement from a man who saw the world in stark, binary terms. You were either the hunter or the hunted. The turning point for Devonshire Collier came when he decided to leverage his formidable street reputation into a music career. In the world of Chicago drill, authenticity is the ultimate currency, and BayZoo had it in abundance. His entry into the scene was solidified with his collaboration on the track Beat Dat Body with King Von, who was at the time one of the most respected and feared names in drill. The pairing was perfect. For BayZoo, this was the moment he successfully monetized his past. He transitioned from being just another respected name on the block to a voice that could broadcast the stories of his world to a global audience. He was no longer just Devonshire Collier from THF 46. He was THF BayZoo, the OTF affiliate. But this newfound fame came at a steep price. His beefs were no longer confined to the south side of Chicago. They were now public spectacles, dissected and debated by millions online. By stepping into the spotlight, he had painted an even bigger target on his back. The same reputation that got him a record deal also made him a priority target for every op who wanted to make a name for themselves. The OTF enforcer, loyalty and betrayal. BayZoo's position within OTF was that of a trusted soldier and a respected OG. His affiliation was well known, and his connection to the label's founder, Lil Durk, was solid. His loyalty to Durk was put on public display in October 2024 when Durk and other affiliates were arrested in connection with a 2022 shooting. As bloggers and social media ran with narratives painting Durk as a crime boss, BayZoo took to his Instagram stories to defend his friend. He blasted the media for giving unproven titles to people and called the murder for hire allegations outrageous. He posed a rhetorical question to his followers. For the record, why would he have to pay his day one to hunt for the lost of another day one? Make it make sense. It was a public and unequivocal show of support. the act of a man standing by his leader when the pressure was on. However, this fierce loyalty to the inner circle had a dark flip side, a complete intolerance for perceived weakness or disloyalty within the ranks. This was most clearly demonstrated in his conflict with fellow OTF member Memo 600. Memo's standing within the crew had become precarious following the deaths of his two main protectors, King Von in 2020 and Lil Durk's brother Deep Thang in 2021. Without their cosigns, Memo found himself...
That's crazy. Like, OTF just been taking losses back to back to back. And it's been like big losses every year, gang. Whether it's jail or death, bro.
Isolated and unsupported by the rest of the label. Rumors began to circulate that he was sneak dissing Durk, and soon he became an outcast within his own camp. The situation escalated when Memo's OTF chain was snatched by ops like THF BayZoo, a sign of deep disrespect. But the final nail in his coffin came not from an enemy, but from his own family. The conflict reached its boiling point in what became one of the most infamous instances of an internal backdoor in modern drill history. THF BayZoo allegedly took Memo 600's OTF chain himself. This wasn't a robbery by an op, it was an act of internal policing, a public stripping of Memo's affiliation by a senior member of the crew. BayZoo then took the humiliation to another level by going on Instagram Live to flaunt the chain. In the video, he directly taunted Memo, challenging him to come get his chain back in person and telling him to stop talking on the internet. He delivered the final cutting blow by declaring that Memo wasn't really 600, effectively erasing his street credibility and his history with the set.
This ain't got nothing to do with your block. You ain't from 600, clown. You ain't from...
Memo tried to do damage control on Twitter, denying the incident and claiming he still had all his jewelry, but the damage was... The public spectacle of one OTF member humiliating another was a clear sign that Memo was officially out. Any remaining doubt was erased when a song snippet from Lil Durk self-surfaced. On the track, Durk rapped the damning lines. I cut off Timo for a real reason, I ain't do that shit on purpose. I cut off Memo for the same reason, he ain't serve his purpose. This was the ultimate cosign. It confirmed that BayZoo's actions were not those of a rogue actor, but of an enforcer carrying out the will of the label's leadership. Memo no longer served his purpose, and BayZoo was the one tasked with taking out the trash. Through this ruthless and public act of betrayal, THF BayZoo cemented his status as a gatekeeper of authenticity and an enforcer for OTF. He demonstrated that the family was not a democracy, it was a hierarchy, and loyalty was owed to the top. By making an example of Memo 600, he sent a clear message to everyone else in the crew about the consequences of perceived disloyalty. He was the immune system of the organization, attacking what he saw as a weakness to protect the health of the whole. But in playing this role, he embraced a level of aggression and a willingness to backdoor his own that defined the very culture.
That's basically the end of that video, man. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if y'all want to see more videos like that. What y'all want to see, bro. Y'all don't be letting me know nothing. But I'm going to see y'all boys in the next video.